BetterCast, joined by Neely and JaceTheAce. I'm Yelkreb. Pleasure to be bringing a double-digit episode your way, and this week we've had just a jam-packed week full of playoff action. We're going to update you on all the brackets, the scores, maybe a little bit of drama, talk about the Halloween event too, but first, Jace, why don't you tell us about that Tier 4 playoff picture?
All right, well, round one of Tier 4 playoffs. You're going to have Minos versus Eclipsers and Blackwatch versus Revamp. So, very, very packed bracket.
Just a jam-packed bracket. Minos the number 1 seed, Eclipsers the 4, Blackwatch 2, and Revamp is the 3 seed. I believe that's how it shakes out. You guys got any predictions with this? Neely, we'll start with you.
What was it? Minos versus Eclipsers. I'll go start with that one because that's the one I remember. I mean, I think I've heard some people say that, it's pretty signed, sealed, and delivered that Minos is the absolute favorite. It's probably going to take this whole thing pretty decisively here. So you got to take Minos. But the one thing the Eclipsers has is they're not the same team they started as. They've actually had like 17 different iterations, and now they're just Titans Academy 2.0. So they could have a little bit of a chance, hopefully, playing them. We'll see what happens. But what's the other game we got here?
Blackwatch versus Revamp. I think I know who you're going to pick.
Blackwatch every day of the week. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope, if Revamp people are watching this, everyone at BA, I think, appreciates you for not being a bitch and sticking around. I mean, because I've even talked about it with Zach, who's a member of Blackwatch, and you're just like, yeah, they just haven't had a great season, but, they just did the thing where they just kept plugging along, kept playing, kept scrimming, and just kept, doing the team thing, and they didn't have a great team, but they stuck together, which is very, much more admirable than what 60% of the teams did.
Yeah.
So,
Just call it quits once they start losing some games. Yeah, props to Revamp for sticking around. Jace, you got any predictions here?
Yeah. I mean, this is the first Tier 4 game we've seen in, 3-4 weeks? So,
Yeah, it's
don't know
been
much about what's going
a nice
on.
little break for them.
Yeah, but, I mean, Minos seems like the favorites. I don't know a ton about Tier 4 at this point, but, yeah. Probably Minos. I see Minos Deathwatch in the final, or Blackwatch in the finals.
Yeah, that's the final that I see as well. I would love it if Blackwatch was able to take the final away from Minos. I guess we'll have to talk about that prediction next week. Nice, Neely. Nice. You're doing so good with the webcam arrangement. You're learning so much. Yeah, it is where I am. Yeah, I think it's going to be a Minos Blackwatch final. Minos did lose one of their star DPS players. Blackwatch has kind of been a fairly consistent team throughout the season, so I think it's going to be a close game. Minos is going to be the favorite if it ends up being that kind of final, but all right, I guess we can just move right along to Tier 3 after that. So, Jace, hit me with those scores. Even though I don't want to hear them. Yeah.
Right, fair enough. Tier 3, we have the winners bracket. We have Solar Flares 3-0ing Deep Dive. Losers bracket, we have STB 3-1ing Icarus. Golden Hour advances because the Theseus situation. And last one from the winners bracket is going to be Hindsight Feeders 3-2ing Deathwatch.
You get a chance to watch any of those games? I know Neely and I both saw at least one.
I mean, I watched the Solar Flares.
I saw a little bit of it too.
Yeah, the Solar Flares game I was obviously top 4.
I wish I could have seen the whole thing. I had my own game, but I didn't know when it started. I saw that Solar was up 1-0, and I honestly feel like once that had happened, it wasn't over, but I came in to watch Hanamura, and I saw the last 2 minutes of them full holding Deep Dive on Hanamura, and I was like, oh boy, there's a team diff happening, then Wanzo comes in on the Bastion, and they just kind of walk on the point and take it. I'm like, that's 2-0, and it is decisive. So,
after they lost that Hanamura map, I didn't see him coming back from 2-0. I didn't even see him taking a map. That Hanamura map was just kind of devastation, and I don't know. It didn't even look like Deep Dive was ready. I think they were expecting week 1 Solar Flares, and it for some reason was just going to be, the same story where it's just a 0-3 sweep and they kind of speed run Solar Flares. But it was the other way around where Solar Flares, they ended up just speed running through Deep Dive in what was one of the quickest games all season.
Yeah, I mean, that was decisive. I think I saw the beginning of Kings. Did you see all of Kings, Jace? I thought Solar was struggling for a second. I was like, oh boy, Maybe they don't
Yeah,
have it.
there was a few moments in that Kings Row game where Solar would be down 3v6, and Nate would just sit in a grab. I'm thinking, why are you throwing right here? Like, I genuinely couldn't tell what they were thinking. Then Juanza would come in with the dragon and just get a 5-6K twice on at least on 2 occasions. So yeah, it was kind of wild, but overall, Solar just so like
That's a
the
shaky
story for
map.
Solar.
Kings Row for
Yeah,
solar flares right now, I feel like is a very shaky map.
Yeah, they lost a map to who's what's it? STB right after they lost Leo.
yeah.
What map
After
did you
they
beat him
lost
on?
him.
It was Kings Row, right? Pies
Kings.
alive,
Yeah, it was
hooking
Kings.
8 people into the hole on third point. That's what happened.
Yeah, that was straight up just
Legendary.
pies, just putting me just standing up behind the objective, getting hacked from top left next hole, while pies just put everybody in the hole. Not a tank player, but we were doing this fun thing where we were like, well, who's playing tank this week? Who knows? Because our one tank we have isn't here. But
Yeah.
if you saw the scores, STV won this week, and we were able to actually bring out one of our tank players. He was like signed to be a tank player, but when you have Leo, who's like a 4K Zarya player, you're just gonna play Leo. You know, maybe he has to play Diva, maybe it's not as good or something, but at the end of the day, if we play Ryan Zarya, which is our best comp, I don't think it's a secret. I'm not giving away any strats, but you know, we're best at that kind of a composition. And when you have him, it's pretty straightforward. And the other backup, you're like, well, if you want to come, you can, but we're not. You're never gonna get play time. And I think he was cool with it, but he just decided to go do stuff for CGL. And now that we actually need an off-tank player, not a DPS player playing off-tank, our new one was pretty clutch in scrims this week, and it was he thought he played bad, but I think he played really well in this game this week. Clearly an off-tank player, you know,
Yeah.
not just like a DPS player swap.
Well,
You
you're
know,
talking
not
about
3,600, but
STB. You want to just
he's
talk a
good.
little bit about the game you had this week and what came of it?
Exactly. All right, I gotta stay level here, but good lord, it was so tilting. So we'll just get it right out. We'll get
Yeah.
it right out there.
Yeah.
Thing is there, and you know, there we had Leo, right? Our supposed DOS or whatever you want to call it, right? He's banned. We've paid the price for that, right? But they were having all kinds of connection issues and stuff like that. And the problem is when you're STB and you've had a guy who's been banned for DOSing, teams are just gonna
You can't
immediately
really
go.
cry wolf at that point.
Yeah, it sucks because you're just like, well, I guess we're the DOSing team, even though we paid the 4K SR Zarya price for DOSing and
Yeah.
ranked. So now we look super sus when anybody has a connection issue, and apparently some of those people never have these connection issues. So
Tough to bring
it
up.
looks, it yeah, it
You
sucks.
had to wait
you know, it
how
looks
long?
really-
Like 40 minutes, an hour?
like an hour,
Yeah.
an hour. Literally, we had if you combined all the so here's the thing, we had played 3 maps in an hour and a half. That's 30 minutes a map. If you want to
Yeah.
like average it out, right? No, we were not playing long maps. Like map 1 and 2 were rather decisive. 2-0, I'm pretty sure. And then what was map 2? I think we full held them off Volskaya, and then we took 2. I mean, they were decisive. Not point 1. It was like 2-1 on Volskaya, but it was rather decisive. If that's even the goddamn map we played, I don't really remember. It's hard to remember. There were so many pauses. Sorry.
Happens.
The hell map was it? Yeah, it was that. And then we go to map 3, Kings Row, everyone's favorite, Scrims Row. And, you know, we play around. I guess maybe they'd had some connection issues. I don't know. We get there's a pause right in the middle. By the way, I would say it was mid-fight because I was near their Reinhardt. I'd say it was mid-fight, but we got a pause call.
Move your mic
and,
closer.
You know, we're
Move
just
your mic a
sitting.
little closer.
Oh, right now.
Put it in a different
okay.
area code when you were done with it.
Yeah, my bad. So, you know, they got to pause, which is cool. You know, they have connections. Let's pause it, right? Let's wait for them. Let's let them reset. So we do like 10 or so minutes of pauses there. We finish our round. We don't cap 3. In between rounds, we're resetting routers, internet. By the way, actually, in the middle, what had happened to one of their DCs, this was 100% confirmed that nobody outside of the game or inside of the game DOSing.
Okay.
What happened was that his mom unplugged the router. So That's confirmed.
How
but-
much did you pay her? That's
It's
my
a crazy
question.
technical issue. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that guy's mom was
Yeah.
playing for STB. That's a little nuts.
Yeah, I didn't either. But that was pause number 1 that took a while. Pause number 2 was, some connection issues. And then pause number 3 was map 4. After we lost map 3, because by the way, I was playing perfect, everybody. I hadn't let one shatter through.
Sure
I was
you were.
100%. I was
Clean sheet,
until these
clean
stupid
sheet.
pauses, and then I started playing like dog shit because he iced me. If you want to beat me next week, get some pauses in there tactically. Ice me
Alright.
out. Ice the kicker. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But
Can't throw in
you
too
know.
many sports analogies here, I don't think.
yeah, well, Kate didn't know what I meant, so I know that other people might not too. But then we go to map 4, and our support gets disconnected, kind of pre-fight. I would say pretty pre-fight. If when we got paused wasn't pre-fight, this was basically pre-fight. And then we got called. Oh, this is a mid-fight pause. You got to run it through. You just lost your free transcendence. Now you get rolled. Now they cap it with 50 seconds, and we're just like, oh, we didn't even cap 3 points on King, so we're kind of stressing. And I go, guys, fuck dive, fuck all the fancy shit. Reaper Sabra, Moira Lucio, Ryan Zarya. We're gonna just run at them. They're running double off tank. Their main tank is not. He's gone. He had to go. He had too many connection issues. And we marched down with 4 minutes and then held him at the door. So we closed it out 3-1. Way too long of a story, but if you want to, if anybody knows Mudquip, the DPS Junkrat 1 trick, halfway through all these pauses, I was so furious. I was like, can we just put him on Ryan? I'm going to bed. I hate this. This is a 3-hour game, and I get it. They have connection issues. They think we're DOSing. We're not DOSing. As far as I'm concerned, we're not. And if somebody outside the game is,
Like
I
that
can't
guy's
fucking
mom.
control that. Yeah, like that guy's mom. It's just like, dude, I was just beyond pissed off
Yeah, it was funny because
until we took it with 4.
we lost to Hindsight 3-2. It was a close game. I was fine with it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, a little downtrodden because, you lose a playoff game. You're in the loser's bracket now, whatever. I played Neely next week, which is kind of fun because we never got to play once this season. But, like, I had just lost a game. He had just won a game. I go into STB's party. Everyone is unbelievably tilted. I show up like, hey, how you guys doing? Heard you guys won your game. And Neely's just like, dude? And then just goes on the rant he just went on, but it was like 15 minutes longer and the volume was like 10 octaves higher.
Yeah. And to be fair to their team, I feel for them. If you have connection issues on a playoff game, you're fighting for your life. You lose your mate. Like, none of it's great.
Yeah, no
But when there
fun.
were no connection issues, it was rather decisive. Actually, one of their support players had a family issue. He also plays on my team for Arc Flash. He couldn't be there as a support, so they had to have someone fill on support. They were fighting against a lot of things. I still think this game was rather decisive for a lot of reasons. And these pauses that made it a 3-hour match were just unreal. I swear, dude, every STB scrim game, everything, teams are taking 40 minutes between maps. I'm just like, I just want to go hang out with my girlfriend and go to fucking bed. And I never can do that. This game was at 8 and ended at like 10:30, 10:40, 11.
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
Oh my God. I don't sign up for that, dude.
Yeah.
9:30, game over.
Yeah, hopefully. Our game started like half an hour late too. It was getting streamed. And I think there might have been like some stream issues. I think Hindsight maybe didn't have all their people in. I'm not quite sure what happened, but there were 12 people in the lobby and it didn't start for like a half hour after 8 and we were all getting kind of antsy. But I feel like that was a good game. I got some clips from that game. They're nothing too crazy, nothing too special, but hopefully they kind of tell the tale of the game and you can see how it played out if you missed the stream. And then I also got some clips of a Tier 2 game, Blackout versus Taken Space, coming up a little later when we talk about Tier 2. But for now, just enjoy the Deathwatch versus Hindsight clips.
So it's the best they can. I haven't mentioned this, but Perkaholic is almost a Soldier 76 to try and counter, but Shumai is in quite a good position to give this up, and to Teammate Tails just gets poked out. Oh, the dragon. It's gonna do so much damage. Oh, but the flank barrage finds both supports. Omi falls again, but I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. The money barrage. But the Death Watch ultimates are so strong just over on point. They played this so well with this point. There's the early 1-4. It's just gonna look at that. It just covers the entryways. It's not gonna be able to connect with the last gamer. Sexy Man falls early. The Nano High Noons looking to build space, and there it is. Those are the picks you need. 2 picks. Perkaholic finds 2 picks, and Deathwatch, despite having such a strong hold on the first point, is going to be losing first point, and now is going to be no longer in a winnable situation. Only draws and a loss is possible here.
Yeah, that might be the most important fight of this entire game.
That was the result there. As Hindsight takes the second map, and I see we have a series very close from Deathwatch, almost holding first point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this turns the momentum in Hindsight's favor, that first point right there, winning that, I mean, potentially could win the entire series here.
For sure. G-Money is going to come up on Barrage very soon, and they have Coalescence, but they're struggling just to get in, and they know any shenanigans that G-Money will be up to with his 2%. Oh, and there's Predict Flex coming out with a mana boost.
Yep.
Clarence finds Deathwatch just don't know what to do.
He's rolling back in that face. But very strong showing from Hindsight right now. Yelk coming with the flank shadow, the flat strats, capitalizing on it, killing the round hard, and that's going to be a reset. It's worth it. Sometimes, you know, just getting one guy in a fight, especially at this level, is worth it, because 6v5 is hard to do against, you know, good teams like both of these teams are. Yeah,
Last gamer, he was doing so well the Reiner, and you know that overtake from Tail is already showing a bit of grind difference. And there's the big shatter about Pluto dying early. It's not really great. Coalescence is going to keep them in this fight, and the shatter right into a wall. Not great, but Deathwatch is so weak. But G-Money in the backline finds nerf supports. G-Money finally taking this flank. This is what we needed to see. Yelkreb goes a bit far ahead, but Clarence is finding the pick. I mean, look at Timmy Tails just in the backline. And Sexy Man's on the side, looking for something. But, you know, it's going to be tough to close to this fight, and Timmy Tails is going to fall.
What are these brawls?
Deathwatch just played so scared. That's what lost them. They let Hindsight walk in on them.
They allowed these people to put themselves in these positions, and Hindsight took advantage of it. I mean, last dying light of Deathwatch rushing the point now, but this is signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Deathwatch sent into the losers bracket. And I think with that, it's hard not to say that, you know, the 2 teams left who are going into winners finals are probably the best teams in their groups. We have Solar Flares from Group A or from Group B, and Group A we have, you know, Hindsight Feeders beating Deathwatch, who look to be starting to have a bit of a comeback, but you know, very close.
Yeah, so right down to the wire, all 5 maps. It was just a tightly contested game, and next week, Solar Flares is going to be the one who has to take on Hindsight Feeders. And just as far as predictions go, we'll pull up the Tier 3 bracket. Again, you can see that Solar Flares Hindsight game at the top, the winners bracket final, and then we've got some other games in the losers bracket. But what about you guys? You got any predictions for the Solar Flares Hindsight game?
Jace, you first.
I mean, I'm kind of riding that Solar Flares wave right now. I'm loving the Cinderella story. I have a lot of friends on that team, obviously, being in the same org and all, but I kind of I'm going Solar 3-1. I'm not calling the 3-0 this week.
3-1.
Hindsight's that good. I'm saying a 3-1 though. I think Solar just has this one figured out.
I don't know if they do.
They have so here's the thing though with Solar in comparison to Deathwatch. I'll go right off Jace here. Deathwatch, I mean, Burke, it's no mystery that you guys are like
We run hard dive. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
All the time.
Nothing but dive, baby.
Nothing but that. But here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't think about. It's like when you play, because obviously Solar at this point, people kind of probably know they run dive, right?
Hmm.
So the thing is that dive is good at keeping up with things like Doomfist. Like it's not like you can't peel back. Ryan can kind of get danced by it. Like if a Doom goes in behind, he can't do anything. He just kind of sits the fuck around, you know? So when Zarya doesn't, you can beam him, but it's hard. You have to hit really good bubbles to counter what he's doing, which some people can do. Maybe Pluto's capable of stuff like that. He is one of the better Zaryas in this league.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
the thing that Solar might have is they're gonna have a ball and they're gonna have a Winston, and there's a couple questions that you could ask: is A, do they trade out better in hindsight's backline than one Doomfist doing insane rollouts trades out, or do they just counter dive Doomfist with things that have mobility that can keep up with him? Because Nade plays a lot of ball, but he's got a real good Diva, and Diva's not too bad against Doomfist. It's not a hardcore stop, but she can keep up with that kind of a character and finish him off.
Hmm.
Solar,
Nade's kind
and
of
the
cracked
thing
on
is,
every tank, on every off tank. I've played with him a
Nade's
couple
tier 4
times.
player at this point.
Yeah.
Nade is very good, right? That's no question.
Definitely one of the
No,
top tanks
he's-
in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they pay for it, 3,700.
Yeah.
You know, granted,
Yeah, you
the
gotta
thing
put
that
Weary with him,
I would
too.
like people to remember about Solar is that I was on that team as a 3650, and they did not sign one player to fill that SR. They are the lowest SR average out of any team based on based on seasonal SRs. Who fills those shoes is Weary, who comes in at a 33 on the score sheet or whatever, but he's like a 36 now. So he definitely, it's not like he doesn't feel what I'm doing better than I do, because he's very good at Winston. He's a good main tank. I played him in a few games. He's a very good player. No hate on Weary. I like the guy.
He's good.
So
Would
you think
like,
it's gonna
look
be
at what they've
dive
had.
just being harder to deal with for hindsight?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know how that's because
Their other
nobody
DPS was
runs
playing a lot of
dive.
Widow too. Dive just puts a
Who?
lot of pressure on the DPS, so
That's true. But the thing is, I know Corgi, who is like their sniper, he played Sombra against us. Like, he has no problem just going Sombra. And the thing is I know Sticky's probably the best Sombra in the league, probably on Deathwatch, probably the best Sombra, best flex DPS. But if you can play dive and have a Sombra, and your Lucio, Anna, or whatever the fuck they're running on the defense are good at booping and peeling, you might not know. You don't know. You don't know. Maybe he doesn't trade out. I mean, we saw in the Golden Hour game mid-season, Perkaholic had to play Ashe.
he
He
seems
couldn't
fine on his
stay.
scan. He doesn't
He
seem
does
like a
seem
Doom
fine.
one trick. Like, he seems totally fine
No,
playing whatever DPS they need him to play.
no, he's fine. I'm not saying he's not fine, but I mean, we've seen him play Doom, and there's no other tier 3 Doom player. There's no tier 3 Doom players. There's not one other,
No,
unless you count Mania, who doesn't get any time,
no,
right?
there's none.
And there's nobody that does it like him. I mean, literally in the first map, I remember when Yelk and I casted the Golden Hour game, we were both just like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
Oh
he's
my
coming in
God.
from the sky, dude. The other team was running a Pharah because it was Golden Hour's Fury,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow Doomfist was consistently higher off the ground than Pharah.
Yeah, he was a threat to Pharah, which if you're in ranked and you're like, oh, they're on Doom Junk, just go Pharah. Not against Perkaholic. He's going to be in your face and making you scared. Anyway, that's all I have to say on it.
All right, Jace, what are your thoughts? You said that you got friends, but in terms of team comps, who's running what strategies, what do you really think is going to happen in that game? Break it down.
I mean, Corgi, again, just looking at the team that Solar's put up this season, you have Juanito cracked at plenty of different DPS. He's mostly projectile. He'll hop on the Bastion, though, and just run through you. He's the flanction. If you've ever thought about running that comp, you need somebody like Juan's on your team. Corgi is a tier 2 call-up, was playing for Legion at the beginning of the season. So, Polo Panda, Spoon Noodle, tier 2 last season for Blanks. They're just a whole bunch of unknowns in the tier 3 up until now. And I just think they have the best tank line in tier 3. Sorry, Yelk. I think you're good, Yelk,
whatever.
but I think they have the best tank line in tier 3.
Played against Nade and you on a scrim where you had like a 4,200
Yeah.
Widow and like two more 3,800 players and kind of bodied you guys, but whatever.
Okay, Nate was playing DPS for the
Whatever.
first two maps of that one. But no, I think that Spirit's one of the better Anas. Like you can call him on a one trick, but he's good enough to be an on a one trick. Spoon keeps the team together with just flexing to any support that you need. I just think they're a tough puzzle to figure out. Like you think you have the pieces together, but then you see you're missing one. And that's what I've seen from them since they've revamped this roster. This is Solar Flares 2.0.
Yeah, and
Let's
I
be
was
honest.
sorry to interrupt you, but I was talking to Spoon a little bit, and I think I was talking to Neely about this too, just about like what our team comms are like during games, and we were both talking about like the major comms we use and how like it can get pretty loud. We're all saying the same thing. And I remember Spoon just chiming in, just like, yeah, we usually just like laugh most of the time. So if you're on a team that's just like running dive when no one's running dive and you're winning games while you're laughing the whole time, you're in a pretty good spot in the winner's bracket. You know, they're in the winner's bracket final, guaranteed that they have a chance at the final. I mean, I think if they go to the loser's bracket, I know Death Watch is there, and we have to get through whoever ends up in the loser's bracket to get to the final. But I think if Flares end up in the loser's bracket, they're just going to go straight to the final. I don't think the loser's bracket final is going to be a close contest. But if Hindsight ends up in the loser's bracket, you know, we already gave them a run for their money. The first time they beat us, it was 4-0. This time it went all 5 maps straight into overtime. So I think if we go up against them a third time, we can figure them out. And I also don't think STB is even in the picture because I'm going to destroy that guy right there on main tank on Sunday.
Well, if we want to jump right into that, we can jump right into that.
Let's jump right into that.
I'm not touching this.
I'm hoping it'll be a close game. I mean, I think everyone on STB has got a pretty realistic view on the season. I think I remember even when we had Leo, we were like, we're probably not the finals winning team. But we're going to go in, we're going to try to have some fun, we're going to try to beat everyone we can. I think what it's going to come down to with Death Watches is if they're not there, if they're not showing up, and it's if we show up. Because STB can either show up or not show up. It's just two different versions of us. And it just, since we've lost our off tank, you know, recently we've finally been scrimming with an off tank. We're not switching our the DPS players in and out and off tank to see who's better, you know. And if anyone scrims often, you kind of know like one scrim against one team switching in and out. That one team is a completely different look from the next team you play. Teams are so different. Every scrim, every game you play. I mean, Solar Flares is the perfect example. Something I actually wanted to say on them was that I do think that every team they play, it's gonna be a tank difference. They're the best tier 3 tank line. It's not the DPS that are necessarily carrying. It's just like if there's just a tank difference happening every game, then you know, I think I know I'm going way back now, but Solar Flares versus Hindsight, I don't think Hindsight's tanks are that good. Unless, you know, but I don't think they're that good in comparison. I think you can put any ball, you know, whatever from Hindsight. I think Nade, no matter who you put in there, is going to be as good, if not better. And then you have Weary, who's just going to be a better main. Like, he's just a good main tank.
Yeah.
If Ryan's not working, they'll just run dive and not care. Anyway, kind of panned back a little bit there. Back to the Death Watch versus STB match. I think we could see a 3-2 either way if both teams are banging on all cylinders. But I think most people, you know, they have their predictions where they're going to be. I'm going to have, you know, I'm on STB. If we come to life, if Wilkes is doing his thing, calling on Lucio, you know, and we're all listening, you know, maybe a 3-2 to STB, but
I think both of us can say it's going to be the most competitive game we've had all season for either team that we've played on. Deathwatch, I know, had that one game at the very end of the season where we had to 4-0 to get into playoffs. But if I'm being honest, the team we 4-0'd wasn't that much of a challenge. Like, it wasn't the hardest 4-0 in the books. So in terms of
Yeah.
like competitiveness, I think this is going to be a much more competitive game, especially with like what's on the line. One of us is going to have their season ended, and two, I mean, just ultimate BetterCast bragging rights. If you win, I might even put your webcam on the top. I don't know. I'm feeling edgy.
Yeah. Well, but then I can't do this. I like doing this.
No, you'll have to do what I do to look to you, which is
Sure
tuck my
you do
chin into
this.
my chest, and then look down at you like that. All right. Tier 2? Is it time for Tier 2? I think it's time for Tier 2.
We have one more game in Tier 3 that we haven't really talked about that I'm kind of interested
We
in.
don't.
We do. Like, honestly.
What is it, Jay?
Golden-
Say it real quick, and
Golden
I'll
Hour
adjust.
versus Golden Hour versus Deep Dive. That's
Well,
an
that's-
interesting one to me.
That's next week, though, right?
No, Golden Hour versus Deep Dive is this round.
Yeah. He's right. Because it was Golden Hour
That's-
Thesis Week 1 losers bracket.
Yeah, that's an interesting game to me because, like, Deep Dive's
Right.
looking kind of boomed right now. I'll be honest, like, I know Deep Dive has the players.
But Golden Hour is also looking a little, like, shaky. I don't think...
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think what Burke said, Blur's very good in top 3%, just does his job on a lot of different
Pretty
angles.
sure
Like, he
Blur
just
got
plays
like
within-
450 SR this week because he actually played the game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was a thing that happened. I'm pretty sure he clocked into our game when we played Golden Hour at like 3150, and I saw a tweet a couple days ago where he got the Masters logo. Saw the fancy SR going up past 3500. So I don't know, man.
And we're also
We'll see.
like, Golden Hour does have
I do,
skippers.
I
Skipper,
do know who he stands
3800
with. I saw
player.
that on Twitter, too. He
Skipper's a
tweeted-
beast.
he-
Skipper's an absolute beast.
Skipper's so
Well, no,
good.
he skewed with Skipper, but he also skewed with what's his name? Quest, my coach for Arc Flash. He's like he's like 42
Oh, yeah,
on
that'll
a
do
lot
it.
of rolls.
He filled
He's
in a
an
scrim when
insane
we
tank.
scrimmed Golden Hour, and believe it or not,
Yeah.
I wasn't a better main tank than Quest. That's crazy. It's like a 900
Yeah.
SR difference, but I couldn't quite.
He
hang.
doesn't. To be fair, he doesn't play main tank, but he's just like
When
a
he was on
16-year-old
Ryan,
that's
I was
kinda
kind of working
cracked.
him, but he could do almost anything he wanted on Wrecking Ball. Like I could just tell he's like a
Oh.
4300 ball player. I
Yeah.
just couldn't even touch him. But when he was on Ryan, I think I was
So-
getting the better of him.
He's like a diva player, but his wrecking ball is like
It's like a
So
600
nasty.
HP tracer. No one could kill him, and he
Yeah.
was clipping
Yeah, no.
people down.
no
Not
he's-
fun.
Him scrimming for a team on ball. That's not. Arc Flash has never even done that. That's just unfair.
Yeah, filling
if
tier
we play
3
him-
on ball. Yeah, that's
Dude, he filled on Riot once on Zen, and Chrono just pocketed him. So gross. We were having so much trouble. This is Lionel roster STB. We were having so much trouble with Riot. I don't remember if we won or not. I think we did. I think we like came out on top. We figured him out, but like Junkertown just pocketed Zen, who's just not missing, and we're trying to play Ryan Zari into it. Oh my god. We eventually played 5, and we're just like jump the Zen, sit on the Zen, don't do anything else until Zen's dead. That was just it. But insane player. I don't even know what we're talking about him. He's not even a BA.
because Golden Hour plays Deep Dive. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't know what comps Deep Dive is trying to run. It seems like they're sticking with like some Brawl with a Junkrat. I've seen Sky Venom on Sombra a few times. I don't know what's up with that team right now, but Coach Amir's got to pop off if they win that game because
Yeah.
I know Golden Hour is going to have some pretty strong hit scan.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to me. Like, you wouldn't like 2-3 weeks ago, you'd say Deep Dive 3-0 this game pretty handily, but I don't know. It's looking kind of tough. for
Deep
them
Dive is
now.
a different postseason team. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. It's not that their players are different. It's not like, oh, they're boom, now it's the postseason, they can't hit. Teams have grown a lot since. I think they were just like they were the starter pack team, just boom, put them out there, they're good. And then as teams worked and leveled up, some of their players had more potential. You know, like you said, Blur got to 4K. You know, people like Pies
Not
got to
4K, but yeah,
4K.
he got high.
Master.
Whatever,
I know what you're
whatever,
getting
you
at.
know.
Yeah. The teams have
Yeah,
definitely
certain
developed.
players had more through potential. I still think Coach Amir is better than 3,300. I think anybody in their right minds agrees
Yeah.
with that. If you've ever filled on a scrim, he's always the best player in that scrim. And the fact that he's 3,300, it's like, dude, put more than an hour on your account. You'll probably do
Yeah.
anything that's ever. You're good at. You shoot things like stuff dies every time you play. There's no way you're 3,300. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I don't think I gave
left.
my predictions, but I'm just going to rattle them off really quick. I think Hindsight beats Solar Flares. I think they beat them 3-2. I think they might get in their heads a little bit with the Pocket Widow early. And then maybe Solar Flares goes to a dive comp, tries it out for a map to try and answer, and maybe that dive comp doesn't work. I think Hindsight jump out in front, and then Solar Flares start to take some maps back. I think that's how that's going to play out. I think I'm obviously going to whoop Neely in the Deathwatch STB game. And then
7-0.
for the last game, I think I got Golden Hour winning, and I kind of think it's going to be like 3-1 or 3-0. Nothing against Deep Dive,
fair.
but kind of like what you were saying. Deep Dive was that team that they came into the regular season, and they looked like a playoff team. And then the entire regular season happened, along with a bunch of other stuff, player developments, other teams getting knocked out because they're breaking rules. And, you know, those teams are in final form now. I mean, it's late stage playoffs. Anyone who's still in is in final form for their team. And I think the catch-up game has just been met. And then teams like Golden Hour, although they lost Fury, I think they might have moved ahead of Deep Dive, unless Deep Dive really starts to figure out a comp this week and show up with some answers. All right. Tier 2. Tier 2, Tier 2. Let's hear them scores.
All right. Well, we didn't have the winners bracket this week, obviously, because a layover week for them. But losers bracket, we had Lucky 13 Diamonds 3-0ing Lucky 13 Clubs. Clubs are out. So we had Taken Space beating Blackout 3-2. Blackout with the quick turnaround in that their end of season form, I'd say.
Yeah, I was a little shocked to see Blackout take
I'll be right back.
2 maps off of Taken Space. All right, he'll be right back.
That's probably a good thing. That's probably a good thing. In this
Yeah,
point.
he's got to walk around. I was a little surprised to see Blackout take those maps off of Taken Space, because the maps that they did take, it looked like a total team difference. I mean, they were really just taking every opportunity away from Taken Space. I'm pretty sure Raichu was on Widowmaker and Reaper on the maps that they won, and just not letting anything happen for Taken Space. Like, anytime a shield got flashed, he'd find a pick on a Widowmaker, and he was just making life miserable, but Taken Space coming out with the W. They've got an insane tank line. I think it's going to be a much easier win against Lucky 13 Diamonds as it was in their game against Blackout, but still kind of cool seeing Lucky 13 Diamonds proving that they're the better team with a very decisive 3-0 win against their other team in their org.
Yeah, and I think a bunch of people were saying, oh, it's a lot closer than you think. I think this is probably the outcome I've been expecting if they ever saw each other between the two Lucky 13 teams. Diamonds is just their main team. Like, Clubs is good, don't get me wrong, but Diamonds is just their team. You know, the 3-0 kind of proves that, like, nails it down. But yeah, you're gonna see a rematch from round 1 in the next round of the losers bracket, where Taken Space did 3-1 Lucky 13 Diamonds last time they played. And yeah, I don't see much of that changing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we do get to see that matchup again from week 1, like you were saying. As you can see on the left side of the bracket on screen. Also, quick shout out to Reyce23 for making these graphics. They're very clean, much cleaner than one of the ones that I posted up last week, which was by my design. So thanks, Reyce, for making these. Don't know if she's going to keep doing them, but it would be great if she did. Yeah, so week 1 matchup, again, Lucky 13 Diamonds. They had that extra look at Taken Space. They got to take a map off of them, so they kind of know at least one key to success going up against Taken Space. So they'll have to do that for 3 whole maps, which makes it a pretty interesting matchup. No Daily versus Event Horizon. We can talk about that, make a prediction if we want. I think we might all be on the same page, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Yeah, go for it.
So we're with Taking Space versus Blackout, right?
So, Taken Space versus
Big
Blackout.
snore. Anyway, moving on.
That 3-2 game, that was
Nice.
very close. That one, yes.
I actually have clips from that game too, so actually before we hop over to the Event Horizon No Daylight game, why don't we just take a minute to look at those there clips.
Just clean Overwatch altogether. Combos were spot on. Blackout just kind of looked overwhelmed right there.
Yeah, they look
Hence, they
really
needed to play the
like
game.
separated. Like they were all playing this game, kinda.
It's just I think the ult combos from taking space are what's going to win it for me if it keeps up at this rate. But then again, jump up through right? Oh, that's a mana wander, flipping an air wander coming. Good shatter on both sides. That's three picks out the way. I think losing that big deep one possibly should have stayed. Genji there. Are they going to contest? No, they're just going to push it in. They contested that. Wow.
Yeah, no contest there.
Good first pick. You don't have to worry about grab now. You just have to worry about. That's just a jump there. Shadow on both.
Oh,
and they see. That's a C9. That's a
What
C9.
C9? It was only one kill. It was 5v6. It wasn't.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's. I whaler there.
Wow, this is huge. This is who I personally had winning the whole thing. Down 2-1. Match costume touch point coming out next round. I believe it's Halo. This one. That was wow. That was a fun match to watch. I enjoyed that.
A lot of them.
Oh, and you know what that means though. We're 2-2
Wow.
now. Yeah, this has to be like no, this wasn't even the lap before that. Oh, he got a 4K out of it.
Our production team's gotta get in there.
At all.
Oh,
Now Lux can't get away with it. Lux, no. Oh, no. Get after the thing up the fight.
Lux ran out of
that's-
fuel.
That
He
looks
ran
like
out
it's
of
gonna do
fuel on the edge of the map.
it. And wow, that's gonna end. What a fantastic game. Just overall, amazing play from both sides. Blackout, I'm sorry for underestimating you guys. Y'all exceeded my expectations so much. But overall, taking space just looked really good this whole game. And wow, that's congratulations, Blackout, on a fantastic season. Just all around, good job both sides.
Epic. Clear skies ahead.
All right.
We
and
live?
that-
Okay.
Yeah, we are. Way to go, Cam.
Big pause. There's a
Big
gigantic
pause.
pause, and I'm like,
All right.
what's happening?
Last game we have to talk about in Tier 2 playoffs is the winners bracket final. Had a bye week this past week. Both the teams just resting the thumbs to gear up for the winners bracket final. No Daylight versus Event Horizon, last season's champion versus this season's up-and-coming dynamite team. That is Event Horizon. It's tough. You know, as the founder of No Daylight, it is tough to say they're going to beat Event Horizon the first time they see them. It's tough. But I think if No Daylight falls to the losers bracket, they can do some VOD reviews. They're a great, coachable team, and I think they could actually take a swing at them if they end up back in the final. But who's to say? What do you guys think?
Speaking of coachable,
Yeah.
I know Ponzi's taking a peek over at them because he was the coach for Season 1 Better Academy, Fat Shats. That's where Walrus Manslap played. This is Walrus's new team that is a branch off from Fat Shats. So I know Ponzi likes those guys, at least likes Ponzi, and is willing to take a look at them. And I know the thing with Ponzi is that he said this about Blueprint. He's like, they're hungry. They want to go in there and get it. He's like, that's fun for me. He's like, I want to help teams that, I think are a little good. You don't want to. It's hard to coach a team that has no life in them, but a team that's hungry. They're like, you say something, they're like, absolutely Ponzi, and they're like, let's try to do that this next round. So I know taking space is. We're talking about taking space, right?
Talking about Event Horizon and No Daylight.
What? When did someone say taking space? Oh
Like
man.
when you sat down after you got up for your walk. It was when you snored, remember?
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, but they play against Lucky 13 times. I think they're going to make it all the way to play Event Horizon in the final. That's the point of what I'm saying. Jesus Christ.
So
Event Horizon, no
TLDR,
daylight.
Event Horizon beats No Daylight. No Daylight loses next round as well.
Yeah, I mean, gotta love no daylight, but
All right.
Event Horizons, they're the golden child of tier 2 right now. They've got it all drawn up.
Yeah,
So.
they got a great team. It's going to be very tough to beat them, no matter who's going up against them. I'd love to see the Blueprint Chaos versus Event Horizon final that we all wish we got to see. But
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen postseason.
gonna happen?
Blueprint's still scrimming. They're scrimming 2 times a week. They're getting ready to beat that
that's.
dog trash team. Keep it
I was
tame.
gonna say keep it tame. Keep it tame. No, it's kind of cool how Blueprint is still scrimming though, because obviously
Going down.
everyone wants to see that matchup. Hopefully, it can get streamed on like a Better Academy channel, even though it's not going to be officially like a league-related game. But
No.
it is, of course, the Tier 2 game everyone
Well,
wants to see.
To be fair, they're not just gonna play Event Horizon, no doubt. They're playing the victor of Tier 2. They're skipping all the rounds. And let's be real, if they were in Group A,
Oh, so if Taken
They could-
Space wins
could-
the final, Blueprint's going to play
they'll play-
Taken Space.
now, I've said they should play a round robin and slap all these teams right out of there. 'cause
That'd
it's gonna
take
be
too much
easy.
time.
Neely, are you
Would
being
take too much
biased right
time.
now? Is that what
Yeah, are
it
you
is?
biased right now?
Slightly
Weird.
biased. No, I mean, here's the thing. I think if they play Event Horizon or Taken Space, I think it'd be a close game. Like, I think it'd be a good game, but I think.
Dude,
I
people
just
say
think
this
Blueprint
podcast is biased. I've literally said on this podcast the team I'm on is not going to win the Tier 3 championship, and I'm not picking No Daylight to beat Event Horizon in the winner's bracket final. Who's saying this is
And
biased?
I've said STB is probably gonna lose to Deathwatch unless we show up. So if we're biased, which
biased
to be
to each other,
fair,
what do
to
you
be
mean?
fair, to be fair, all fairness aside, I'm a little biased, but I made a
little
tweet
biased.
yesterday and I stand by it. You haven't done shit in this league, or you're just like a team that's
Or you're on
shaking
one
things
team
up.
that then got caught cheating. I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
want to hear
Or-
from you. I've been in this for
you're
4 seasons. Been in this for
Yeah.
4 seasons. Haven't cheated. Made an org with a team that's never cheated. It's so easy not to cheat. People
Okay.
come up talking
Don't rub
shit.
it in.
No.
Don't rub it in.
You are just a cheating magnet. You just
No.
attract them. It's something about you. It's your blue eyes. Just
that
get to
nobody
Okay,
can see because
blue
it's
eyes.
dark right here.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We do have some cheaters. But let's be real. These 2 cheaters,
Yeah.
2? No, sorry, like 17. Sorry, I forgot the number. The-
So it's a
There
few of
was
them.
nothing. There was
2 to
nothing we could do.
17.
Here's the thing. Our tier 4 didn't cheat. Our tier 4 was clean. The problem is some of those players from the tier 4
Well,
were like, let's help out this or let's help out
they-
this org.
You say they were clean, but they had cheaters, right?
They eventually did, but for tier 3, the tier 4 team never cheated from my org.
As a team, you didn't.
True,
cheat.
they
I see what you're
went
saying.
out of your org to just disgrace some other org.
And to be fair, as the person that runs it, behind my back, everything was behind my back. I said get decoy, cleared, which he was cleared
Yeah.
by BA. Like a lot of players, Coach Amir, all cleared, right?
Yeah.
By BA. But if you put Time Bomb on your team, he's got to take a look.
He's gonna throw
might
on
just-
that Sherlock Holmes hat,
He might
pull out
find
his
something.
monocle.
He might find something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you've got a face reveal channel, and this tier 3 player looks devilishly similar to your tier 2 player. Wait a second. And then you start asking point blank questions, and then you realize he's a tier 3 Reinhardt who's playing DPS. Dog shit at DPS, but what are you gonna do? He's still not supposed to be there. Got to take those 3 forfeits, not make playoffs, going undefeated. Tough.
well.
It was tough.
That is super tough. That's the
We won
toughest
all the
deal
hard games
of any Better Academy team, I think.
because we beat Blackout, we beat No Daylight, with bot playing a Reyce.
Hey man,
That's a
Lighten
joke.
up.
That's a
Lighten up.
joke.
Hey,
Lighten up.
Absolute joke.
Inside
mean
info.
You could like
That
a
doesn't mean
Reyce,
it's
you
good at
still
it, yeah.
dog shit at it.
Okay, no, I mean, yeah.
It's like saying Jace is good at Winston. Okay, he played Winston. Doesn't mean he's good at it. Team could be
mean,
bad.
I am, but it's cool, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, that again, the Event Horizon No Daylight game.
3-0.
I don't think it's a 3-0. I'm telling you, I don't think it's a 3-0.
No,
Again, I
probably
rate Event Horizon, but No Daylight shows up in the playoffs. We've seen that. We just
They're a
see
great
it, and we've
playoff
seen
team.
it.
They're a playoff
Yeah,
team
it's like
for
last
sure.
season. What was the story? What was the story last season when No Daylight went up against Blackout in the finals? Oh, Blackout's going to win the finals. Okay, No Daylight, good team. Blackout wins the finals. What's the story this season? Event Horizon going to win the finals. Oh, No Daylight's or Event Horizon's going to make it to the finals at the very least. Oh, No Daylight's a good team. Event Horizon makes it to the finals. I could see that coming back around. I have to go with Event Horizon because it's like that's my gut. But I'm gonna say it's closer like a 3-2 game with a chance for No Daylight.
I mean, I appreciate the hell out of that, but Cam,
I-
nice nod.
that's
You're
just-
really learning where these webcams are. You're doing great. Yeah, good stuff, Jace. All right, I, as the founder of No Daylight, cannot make the same prediction. I think the first time No Daylight looks at this team, I think it might be a 3-0, might be a 3-1. No Daylight might steal that one map, but I don't think it's going to be that close. But I do think and believe in No Daylight as a very coachable team where if they can make it through the losers bracket final and end up squaring up against Event Horizon again in the final, then it's anyone's game. But I think first look that No Daylight gets at Event Horizon, I think Event Horizon probably ends up with an easy ticket into the final, but they're still going to be playing a good team. Neil, you already gave your
Fair
prediction,
enough.
right? You said Event Horizon.
To be fair,
no
was
contest.
not even paying attention.
That's okay. You got to get up and walk around
Move
again.
on.
All right. Tier 1.
I got some things to say about Tier 1.
Sam, what happened in the qualifiers? Zero Gravity against
Oh.
Blueprint Havoc.
Apologies to my Tier 1 Havoc guys. I'm pretty sure it was a 3-0 decisive. I think it was pretty decisive. But
There
I know
were a couple
Havoc put on
close
a good show.
maps.
I'm very proud of everybody on Havoc if anybody's watching. Super proud. Because, I mean, Tier 1's really hard. I think to anybody who says, you know, I'm going to make a Tier 1 team, I'm thinking about a Tier 1 team, I'm the first guy to advise against it. You know, it's not that those players don't deserve a team. A, there's less of them. The commitment can be lower. The thing with Havoc was, dude, those guys were talking in the chats. They were doing like 2 scrims a week, maybe 3. They did 2 a day. They did a 3 a day. They had 3 scrims in one day, back to back. So
That's an
and
Overwatch
they made
League
it.
schedule.
That's too much.
That's
I
a
told
full
them,
day
I
of
was-
scrims.
I was like, I do 1 day of a game or a scrim, and the second after I play no Overwatch. Again, I go to bed, I watch Netflix, I do anything else. So, thing with Havoc was super proud of those guys, of course. But they lost 3-0 to Zero G. Zero G's gonna be moving on. That was the qualifier round. And I was checking out the qualifier round. I forget the other match that happened. I don't have very much insight on it. But I know the qualifier round looks pretty good, and I have one decisive opinion, one iffy opinion. We can go from there. I don't know what the other qualifier round was. Tell
The other
me
one,
about
let
it.
me just tell you, it was Nightwatch picked up a forfeit against the Protectors, or as you like to call them, the Protesters. So it's looking like it's going to be Zero Grav versus Nightwatch. Moving on. Or sorry, Nightwatch is going to end up playing Labyrinth, and Zero Gravity is going to play Shell Shocked. Which of those 4 teams seem really good to you guys? I like Shell
Shock's
Shocked.
insane.
Yeah, okay.
Shell Shock's very good.
Yeah. I mean, a couple weeks ago they beat. There's a question: who's better, Nightwatch or Shell Shock? Nightwatch or Shell Shock? Shell Shock 4-0 Nightwatch. I mean, from here on out, you just gotta go. Shell Shock's number 1. There's
Yep,
no
they earned it.
question.
They earned it. They definitely
Yeah.
did.
In Tier 2, did that work habit? No, they were very bad.
No.
They put all their stock Tier
Different
1.
tier.
Could they
different team.
Tier 1 beat their Tier 2?
Different tier,
Maybe.
different team. And yeah. I mean, you got who's Shell Shock playing again? Wait, I think it's actually up.
Shell Shock
Oh,
is playing Zero Grav.
It's gone.
Yeah, Zero G.
The team that just beat
Yeah,
Blueprint.
I mean, Zero is not bad though. They've actually been pretty strong all season. I don't know what the score will be. I just think with Shell Shock beating Nightwatch 4-0 in the regular season. I don't know all the details. I'm sure Nightwatch. Oh, we were missing. Oh, we were but 4-0 decisive second best team. You gotta take Shell Shocked in this one winning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-0 because they've done nothing but decisive wins. So, hey, they're run by my Blueprint's own Turtle, he loves my org. So
Big
can't
esports
hate
guy
Shell
too.
Shocked.
Once he saw that the T1 team Shell Shocked was doing well, I feel like he really did invest a lot into that team. Be like, all right, we might not get the tier 2 banner, but we got high hopes for this one, and they've really been all in.
Yeah, I've heard they got some egos over there. You know, it's
I
always
heard
funny
the
when you're
same.
a higher tier, and you're like,
Yeah.
T1's got egos, but here's the deal. Is even in any tier, if you have an ego in tier 3,
Well, all my life, from when I was like 3 years old through college, I had an ego when I was in elementary school, had an ego when I was in middle school, had an ego when I was in high school, had an ego when I was in college. When I was in college, I was never like looking at middle school baseball players and being like, those kids shouldn't have an ego. They should totally have an ego. They're competing at their level of competition, and if they're smoking the competition, then they earn the ego. I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
they're not going to be playing your tier 4 team because they're on tier 1 Shell Shock. That matchup isn't going to happen. So, I think it's fine that they have egos. I like to see it. I like to see the guy on top be kind of a bully, be kind of a villain of the league, and have a target on his back. And that's what an ego does. So if you want him to not have the
Yeah.
ego, just walk up and win 3 maps. It's that simple.
and the thing is, yeah, like you said, that target on your back. You could just be, you know, I love the style of play, which is, you know, if you get a touchdown, act like you've done it before. You know,
Yeah.
don't be the guy that goes in there and spikes it, and it's like,
Well,
dude, this is my first time
just
in
connected.
elementary
Yeah,
school.
yeah, I was about to say, I think we DC'd.
We did.
Every time.
I wonder how much we just missed. How much just got lost.
No, right when I said DC'd.
Yeah, but the stream's buffering a while ago for me. Like a good bit ago.
I'll just read Twitch chat, see what they said.
God, the Demon skin's a good looking skin.
Someone put in 3-1 lab. We're gonna have to talk about that. So it's lab.
Yeah, Lab versus Night Watch.
Dude, did my light die? I think my light just died.
Very cool.
Like, not.
Cell phone light.
Yeah.
Cell phone light. Ah, we're back.
Oh,
And
We're
Neely's
going
light's
dark. We're going dark, Neely.
Wait, are we back?
Dark Neely.
Hold
His
on.
light died.
It died. This was my this. I always have this behind my computer, and it's so bright you want to die.
Use your cell phone light.
Yeah. Shine it directly in your eyes.
Also, tilt your camera down a little bit. There you go. That's better. You're still in the dark, but that's fine. We got another
Yeah.
tier 1 game to talk about, you guys. We got a pretty significant battle from the last season of tier 1. We're going to get that playoff rematch. It's Labyrinth versus Nightwatch. Was that the final last tier 1 season?
It was the
Yeah,
semifinals.
Semifinal.
No. Oh, you're right.
Because
Yeah.
that's the one where a certain player started getting accused of account sharing. So,
Scotland, yeah.
yeah.
But it's okay.
There's
A
some
different
salt-
team
some salt.
known as Labyrinth had 15 players that were 200 listed 200 SR under what they were listed, so they can shut
It
it.
all equals out.
Yeah.
Everyone is accused of doing shady stuff in tier 1, I guess.
Well, no. One was accused, one was convicted.
True.
Gigantic
Scotland,
difference.
I don't think sandbagged. I was never on
No,
that
it's-
train.
No, it wasn't sandbag.
It was account sharing.
Account sharing.
I'm
Which
not
is
on that
proven
train either.
completely wrong.
Pretty sure I got to cast the game between Labyrinth and Nightwatch. I think I got to see him play. And it didn't seem like that
Yeah.
crazy. It seemed like a tier 1 game where he played Genji and it was tier 1 and a bunch of people were out of position and he just went around cutting people up the entire game. And I think that can just
And-
happen in tier 1.
And played Farah, and they didn't have an answer. I mean, he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't play great cover. He just was Farah in the sky. They didn't shoot him.
He
He
played
shot.
like a 2900 player would play, hopefully, in a tier 1 game. Like,
Yeah. Like Scotland.
what I saw.
We all know he can be. We all know Scotland can be cracked when he wants to be cracked. We know he has bad games when he wants to have
Wow.
bad games.
Unless he unless he fills for your tier 3 game, and he's gonna absolutely shit the bed and show you why he's tier 1 and tier 2, not tier 3. He's gonna go for tier 3.
player.
All right,
Should.
listen, we're not
He's a
talking
tier
about
4
Scotland. We're talking about Night
Sorry.
Watch and Labyrinth. Who do you think's gonna win? I'm picking Night Watch.
Night Watch 3-0. That's just it. I don't even need to know much.
3-0 from the qualifiers to just beating a team that's seeded in the playoffs automatically.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. So we like to take Night Watch because I know I had them highly rated, but I think just to differentiate, like I'm a Black Watch guy. I like that org. I like what they do. I don't know who they have in charge of it. They usually have somebody a higher tier in charge, which
it's a
gives
lot
them
of
a better
people. It's
chance.
like Tomy, Pluto, G Money does some things. I've done a little bit with them. I mean, they got a flurry of coaches at the helm.
Yeah. So you've seen them. You've probably got a better opinion than anybody, but I mean,
I like them. I know that the wheels can kind of come off.
yeah,
They've got to be really
any
quick.
Tier 1 team though.
They've got to be really quick to answer, something compositionally that's not going their way. They got to answer that very quickly, or they'll just be playing mystery heroes the whole time, it seems like, which I think a lot of T1 teams might get into that habit where they just start shuffling through DPS heroes and tank heroes, but they're a pretty clean team, especially in regards to like tier 1. They're definitely a pretty clean team.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the top teams. I'm going 3-2 Labyrinth. I'm gonna give it to them. As much as I love Blackwatch, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the Labyrinth org. I don't hate them. I appreciate any org that ends up sticking around.
Yeah.
Like I've said, I think if you're gonna, I know, but I think if you're gonna stick around in BA and be like kind of a BA team, I think you earn a level of respect from like BA veterans and BA other orgs at a certain point.
I don't show my bias often. I'll show it on this one. I just want Night Watch 3-0. I'll be honest. Sorry.
You just want them to?
Yeah.
I mean, I want them to as well, but I think Labyrinth probably takes a 3-2 win. I think Night Watch, I mean, they're cold on the sticks. They got the forfeit in their last game. They don't know what the playoffs is like. Labyrinth has been scrimming with playoffs in mind for 2 weeks now. So I think Labyrinth is probably going to take the win, although I'm rooting for Night Watch. I think it's going to be 3-2 Lab.
Yeah, I think if I was to root, I would root for Night Watch just because I like Blackwatch has been an org as long as Blueprint, so I respect them more. I've met a lot of good people from there, so I like Blackwatch. I think Labyrinth takes it 3-2. See what happens, I guess, right?
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about a great little thing called the Halloween event and these awesome skins. But while we're setting that up, I want to know from chat what your favorite playoff game in any tier, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, what you're excited to see in tier 4. If that's the case, what's been the best game you've seen all season? But you guys, Cam, very spooky light, very festive, talking Halloween. What's your favorite skin from the event? For me, I think it's gotta be the Genji skin. I love how he looks. It's so
that
cool.
Genji skin is pretty wild. I'm gonna just take a look at him because I'm right on the browser as is, so I can just do what's new. But I mean, I think Winston's been due for a werewolf skin for a hot minute. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, he's had the Yeti skin forever now. It's about time he got a werewolf skin. But that Flying Dutchman Sigma with the spiky balls.
It's on point.
I mean, it's a pretty perfect skin.
Yeah.
But also those spiky balls. I mean, they might be the best Sigma balls in the game. You know what I mean? He's got to shave them up a little bit, get some manscaped going on those things. But as of right now, they're looking pretty fly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
let's
have to
not
agree with
ignore
you.
the purple skins. That Echo skin is just phenomenal. It's her best
I
skin
thought
by far.
I thought that was a legendary for sure.
It's so good. But Diva's my favorite, but the Echo one's just so good. I think the Diva one with the haunted house mech.
Yeah,
that's genius. That's just genius. She's haunting the mech. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool
Holy
skin.
shit.
I think my favorite, I mean, I've said it's the Genji one. I wish they made the sword a little cooler on the Genji one. It's a pretty sick sword, but I also feel like at the same time it's kind of standard. Hanzo, on the other hand, what even is that Hanzo skin?
So here's how I depicted him. I'll give here Miss Curly Fries thought on him was he was a mad Asian. That's what she said. Now
Okay.
I don't support those views. That's
Just
What are you
throw
saying here?
Australia under the bus.
I don't support that. I don't support that view. How I see it is it's basically a hell Pinocchio Hanzo. Have you seen that nose? That thing is ridiculous. What is going on?
It's one of those
With
like,
his
it's supposed
nose?
to be one of those masks.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
look
just
at it.
turned
Look.
the skin sideways, dude. I just turned it sideways.
It's
He's
one
got
of
an
those,
absolute
like,
beak.
masks. You know,
Yeah,
like
if
how
you
they have
don't
those
turn it-
masks.
I didn't even notice, dude. Straight on, you don't even see it. Actually, straight on,
No,
his
you
nose
don't.
looks a little like something that is not appropriate for the BetterCast. But dude, turning it sideways,
Oh, you're right. Oh my
Phallic.
god, that is a
It's
dick and
phallic.
balls.
it is
Holy-
totally.
Okay.
I mean, just look at it. Oh my god. Anyway, putting the webcams back up on screen so we don't have to censor anything. That's what the Hanzo skin looks like.
Oh man.
I'm seeing some people in chat say that unless Taco plays, it's gonna be a win for Nightwatch in their game against Labyrinth. So maybe we were wrong saying it was gonna be Lab.
Taco seems active though. I've seen Taco. I think he follows
He
on
seems
Twitter.
super
I think he's gonna
active.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen him around. The fact that I know who he is means he's semi-active. So I think he shows up. I gotta go take the dinner out of the oven.
All right.
Keep it on.
All right.
I can't have it, bro.
Other people in chat, Cabbage saying that he's excited to see No Daylight versus Event Horizon. I gotta say that, like, I'm pretty excited to see that too. No Daylight hasn't been challenged too greatly in the playoffs, and now, I mean, they got the biggest challenge. This is more than just like defending their title. It's not in the championship, but this is the heavyweight
Let's-
in playoffs.
Let's be honest. With Blueprint no longer there, Group A, No Daylight's the best team in Group A. Like it's not even close.
They're clean, and like you were
And-
saying, they're a playoff team.
Exactly. Like don't get me wrong. Both groups had their moments. Neither one was terrible, but it was always gonna be No Daylight and Blueprint in Group A. Like it's just the competition wasn't quite as deep. Like I think there's 3 or 4 teams that in Group B that probably could have been number 2, number 3, or especially with the Blueprint situation, number 2, number 3 for sure in Group A.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Cam, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
I think it's chicken casserole. There's, some cheese involved, and then potatoes, baked potatoes.
Is it chicken Alfredo? Is it
That is
okay.
what I had last night. It was
So
very
good.
good.
So good.
Breaded chicken.
Mm.
Where
All
were
right.
we at other than my dinner?
Well, I think
talking
we're pretty much ready to
Chat.
wrap this thing up here. We're hitting on over an hour, so a lot to get through this podcast. I mean, we did every single bracket, had some clip highlights in there too, went over some skins. I mean, this was a busy one for sure. All right.
Yeah.
We got the Twitter handles right under our faces this time, doing that a little bit new, so we don't actually have to plug our Twitters unless you guys really want to read them out loud, but I don't think it's too
At
necessary.
Neely
Okay.
_OW. It's right there. Look at that.
I'm
What about you,
just
Jace?
out of principle. I'm not going to say it now. You can.
All right.
I think our viewers can read.
Well, you can follow these two guys and myself on Twitter as long as you can read these things. And yeah, I mean, it's
I
been fun.
can't.
We're going to put this one up on YouTube. A lot of fun playoff games to watch this week. Make sure you're tuned in. I know for a fact that Death Watch versus STB is going to be a game you don't want to miss, especially if you're a fan of the BetterCast. You just don't want to miss that game. It's the most important game of the season. Tier 3 championship doesn't even matter. This game matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Neely and I haven't gotten to play each other all season. I think we've scrimmed each other once. I don't even think it was on main tank, or I think it was like
That
just
was
after.
Solar Flares versus Death Watch. I
Yeah,
remember
and there
that
was
a while
one where it
back.
was like, we scrimmed them on STB, and it was like fresh after STB was going through the woes, and they didn't have Wilkins, and it just wasn't the right thing. But hopefully, it's full setup versus full
Yeah.
setup, and it's a
We didn't-
banger of a game.
Can we call this game the
Yeah.
BetterCast Cup? Is that a fair title to this
Better
game?
Cast Cup. I like it.
I think it's fitting.
Better Cast Battle? Something. Working title. I like Better Cast Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a name for it.
We need some
Hopefully
good,
by the time it's
unbiased, and energetic casters for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
2 casters, 1
Oh, I'm
cup.
going for it. I'm going for it. 2 casters. Jesus Christ.
2 casters, 1 cup.
Oh,
I hate you.
yeah, that's it. That's it. So we're going with.
I was quiet too long. I had to say something. I had to get so close to like be at least blue. Crazy.
Yeah, your light is out.
That's
That's
what-
what happens when your light's out.
It's out. It's over.
Yeah, I'm going for that. I'm going for that 2 casters, 1 cup, man. 100%. I'm going for it.
Yeah. You mean trying to cast it? Yeah, cast it.
Yes, I absolutely want to do that.
You should.
Do it with
Alright.
Kane or something.
Neely and I are
Ooh,
trying to get
yeah.
in a cast this week too, so hopefully if we end up casting a game, people watch it. Keep an eye out on our Twitters. You can follow them as long as you
They
can read
will.
these things.